Ian, I know that this project is not just about the build and walking away when that's completed and people have moved in. I know that going beyond that is really important to you, that it stacks up over the future years. I know that there are issues like affordability, like trying to design the space so that people have their own space, but also community space and the chances to get together. There are things that are harder to measure, like, do people actually care? Is there a caring community in the area? Are there local opportunities rather than people having to travel a distance?
Yeah.
So let's look at these in turn. I mean, is this going to be somewhere just for the super rich?
No, it's not the intention. Even within all the councils are looking at affordability of housing, and obviously in Sydney, given that Sydney I think is about the 10th most expensive city in the world, that is a big issue. It really comes down to, like, how do we make it affordable for people to live in cities? What have we got to do? How are we going to achieve this? And it might be a case of saying, well, okay, there's a certain allocation. Now, councils are looking at, say, somewhere around about the 12% mark, but we've got to address these issues. Otherwise, there's no point just having the super rich living in the city and everyone else lives out on the peripherals.
Okay, and I mean, obviously, if you're building, a high-rise apartment block, people are going to have their own space in there. But sometimes people get disconnected. They never see anybody else unless they happen to be in the lift at the same time.
No, sure.
Is this the kind of thing that you want to see changing?
Yeah, well, yes, again, this is an issue that needs to be addressed. I mean, after all, it's not a community. It's one thing, sort of saying we have a whole bunch of people living in a building. Probably the only time they connect is when they're going to be in a body corporate and having disputes. This is not about having disputes. This is about creating a community which is engaging at all levels. And obviously things like community gardens and sort of like a farm. How do we the common processes of having community energy systems, or how do we access and reduce the amount of water we consume? I mean, they're all aspects. It doesn't matter how good the building design is if we're not designing the community and the people who live in it to work with these systems, the systems will fail.
The people, for it to be sustainable, the zero carbon principle is if people have to travel a long distance for work, for example, then it's counterproductive.
Yep.
What are the kind of local opportunities that you intend to have created around this development?
Well, to start with, we're going to have a development which is in the city. We're not currently looking out in the sort of like the suburbs or on the edge of the city, unless it is attached to a hub which connects you. We've got to connect. This is how do we connect people to work, to play, and to the community itself. If we don't do that, the development fails, the community fails, and the city fails. So it's not sustainable. We've got to make this a development which is about people.
In the inner city, one of the challenges is having local sources of food and nutrition, for example.
No.
Community projects, opportunities for people to get involved in contributing to their community. Education and learning for all age groups. I guess not just for kids.
Important, very important. So I mean, that in itself, again, it's connecting. We've got to connect the building, the development, with the people who live in the building and the community that surrounds it, so that it has a life of its own that is going to work and develop over time. We're talking about something which is going beyond the end of the construction period.
So you're aiming a few years down the track to be able to look at this, and for the metrics to tell you, and for people to tell you, this is a caring community, it's a resilient, sustainable community. The building is having zero or no impact on the environment, but the other things are coming together as well.
And now, again, very important issues. They're issues which for the most part, we we haven't been addressing. Yes, we're starting to address them, but I would say that we need to start looking more at this, because unless they're addressed properly and soon, we're going to be in some serious strife ourselves with our cities.
Okay, so if you're getting involved, just be aware that this is a long-term project. The build itself is only part of it. It needs to stack up for years to come, for as long as the building survives, I guess.
Yeah, well, we're looking. I mean, I currently live in a building now which is 110 years old. It's got some issues, but you know, why aren't we developing large developments that we're talking about, which are going to be there for the community for over 100 years? We're talking about 3-4 generations of people who could be living in this place in 100 years' time, who have lived in this place in 100 years' time.
So a genuine piece of heritage that people will be proud to say they've been part of.
Exactly, and very important.
Great stuff, thanks.